How you doing, Jeff D, AMCBizSolutions.com for our weekly marketing and business tip for all those small business owners out there. So, big week this week, first week in May. Like every year, it is Small Business Week with the Small Business Association this week. So, we are celebrating small business. In fact, heck, we should be celebrating small business every day, because that is basically the juggernaut of the economy. It's our engine. So what I like to do today is go over kind of three, I would say, immediate tips for small business owners that's often overlooked because we're all busy, running our business. We're the experts at what we do, the product or service that we do. And, so a lot of these things are really overlooked. And I'm going to start with probably the most important one of all of protecting your business. First tip of protecting your business is security. Is how are you protecting your IP, your intellectual property, your data, and your employees from other people, right? I think it's always a good practice to register your business with your local city or town or state, and register it as an LLC or an S corp or a C corp. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to talk kind of more on the tech side of the whole thing, right? The technology and supporting the technology and security of technology. So I know most companies, most small businesses have to get cyber insurance, cybersecurity insurance. And part of what to do is to get a good discount on cybersecurity insurance is to make sure you're running virus protection. I'm going to go into a little tactical things, right? Think about everyone in your business. You all have laptops. You may store your data on the cloud. Now, two things you probably should do immediately to protect all your accounts. You may have multiple accounts out there for your CRM, your cloud storage. Make sure you implement multi-factor authentication. What that is it's a second login, multi-factor, right? So you have a login to your account. You may want to set up a text-based multi-factor authentication for all your accounts. So that way it's harder for those bad people to get to your data. And the second part of that is every computer that you have that connects to your data, whether it's in the cloud or a local server or locally, you should also have endpoint detection and virus protection on every device that connects to your data. So that's important stuff. And these are two prerequisites to usually work towards a discount in your cybersecurity insurance. So really, those are two big things right there is how do I secure my data, logins to my data out into the internet, and also how do I protect the devices that connect to my data. So that's a little bit about security because it's real important. The internet's so wide open. With AI today, it's so easy to get to people's data. So think about ways you can secure your data. Second thing, operations. This is pure operations. To run a business is it could be very expensive, right? And what I've seen out there is a lot of business owners, their operational costs go out of control, right? They may be spending hundreds of dollars for some mobile workplace that they never use, or they're spending money on, paper and printers and all these things that it takes to run their business, or they have multiple subscription accounts out there. Do a review of what you're spending. You should always have use a formal tool like a QuickBooks or even a small ERP if possible. Start with Excel, but really itemize how much you spend each month to run your business. And I know this sounds pretty simple. You're like, Jeff, that's pretty simple stuff. But I know so many businesses, I talk to so many businesses that seem like they're out of control. Their monthly operational expenses are out of control. And of course, that affects profits, right? If you're not bringing in the revenue to offset the operational costs, a lot of times you're not making money. You're not paying yourself, especially for the solopreneurs out there. So my suggestion there is, itemize your operational expenses, run an operational dashboard, see what you're spending out there. How are you paying your customers? How are customers paying you? How are you doing your marketing? So that leads to the third part, right? Of course, my bread and butter, marketing, right? So marketing is a loose one, and that kind of coincides with operational expenses. Is your marketing bringing you the return on investment you expect? And you're hearing it here from a social media person, marketing person, recruiting. I do a bunch of things, right? Everyone should be in marketing, but really take a step back and understand what makes the most sense for your business, how you market your business. Now, I'm going to tell you that multi-channel, having different pipelines to build your revenue is important. So, and then we talked about networking, relationship building. That's a soft skill that's out there all the time that we should all be doing anyways. But then, or what do we do on, platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn to market yourself? My old saying is just make sure, the biggest tip I have for you out there is just make sure your profiles are all up to date. That's the tip I like to give you there. But when it comes to spending money on advertising, boosting posts on social media, really try to understand what you need to do before you go and spend a lot of money on it. Search engine optimization can get very expensive, but it's also very important. That's how people get to your website. So you have to really, I think my tip to you for marketing is educate yourself. Educate yourself on what really needs to be done. Network with an expert, that could help you. We got some great resources, and that kind of goes aside with your business operational expenses that we talked about earlier. So to summarize, secure your business, protecting your business, protecting your technology and your data, important. Second thing, getting a handle on your operational expenses. This is, it sounds pretty trivial, but it's a problem, especially for the solopreneurs out there. And third thing is really understanding your marketing needs and multi-channel and diversifying all the channels that come in to your website and your business that would help you build their business. So hope this helps. So enjoy Small Business Week out there, and support your small business owners. If you know any small business owners, definitely help support them on social media, because for a lot of people out there, it's their revenue, it's their money, it's how they put food on the table today. So realize that, for all those small business owners out there, help support them. Don't support those big corporations that have billions of dollars anyways. Have a good day. Take care. Jeff D, AIMCBizSolutions.com.